All of this is one paragraph. Oh. So I hope that you have copied well your essay. First, Khadija, check with me whether first paragraph is okay. Is it the right one? Okay. Now let's look at read your Khadija. Can you read? Is it possible for you to use your microphone to read?
Yes, of course. I think in first paragraph, in the introduction, you mixed mine and Jalal's.
Oh.
I'm gonna read mine.
Oh.
I'm gonna read mine. I think you mixed.
So
the first paragraph is not all mine.
Yes, so Mukhtar was also sending, so
Yes.
I copied his part.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's. But anyway, you will read until the part where
I liked everything about it. I liked everything about it. The next thing's not mine.
Now, when you reach the part which is not yours, you tell me so that I can delete it and copy yours. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, you read.
So I'm starting to read the introduction. I love Moroccan's wedding parties. The mixture of decoration, the music, the food, the women's kaftans, and the extravagance of the brides always fascinated me. The last wedding party I went to was my cousin's. It was the most perfect reception I ever attended, and I liked everything about it. That's it. That's the introduction.
This is introduction. So normally we should start here a new paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's not mine.
So in most weddings,
the second paragraph is the wedding hall was magnificent. Okay. The wedding hall was magnificent. Wait. It's not all of it. It's not all of it. The wedding hall, I think. Go up if you can, please. The wedding hall was magnificent.
Magnificent. Let's do.
I think you didn't copy it, or I didn't pass.
I did not copy. Yeah. So. Right, I will go back.
The wedding hall.
So here up to. So
I think it didn't pass. I think it didn't pass. I don't have it here in the chat room.
It was not sent.
It was not sent. Yeah.
Okay, so
again? I'm gonna send it back. I'm gonna send it back. It comes before there was 20 table arranged. So you can delete all the paragraphs
and up to 20 tables.
To be well managed. Yeah. No, to be well managed. To be well managed. Up. Okay. Just a small paragraph. Just the small paragraph on top. Yeah. And replace it with the one I just sent. The last thing I just sent. Yeah.
So this where shall we select it before tables?
Before there was 20 tables, yes.
It's the same paragraph.
Yeah, it's the same paragraph.
Okay, now let's look at the introduction first. Sent by your friend. I would like your feedback, please, about. Remember, we said you have to describe a wedding party. What are your remarks, please? Students, read again the introduction. Any remark? Yes, you don't need now here. That's for the spelling. Yes, Yasin, Moroccan. Within, need for S. And that's something particular about English is that we don't. Adjectives are not put in plural or singular. They are always singular, irrespective whether they are used with plural nouns or singular nouns. But the way she has introduced, was it okay? I'm not focusing now on mistakes, if any. Just, I have not read yet what she has sent, but if you, from the very beginning, you talk about decorations, music.
Sir?
Yes?
May I, please?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, first, I would like to thank Khadija so much for writing this. And then my remarks, I think it would be constructive, Khadija, not destructive. I hope you take it as that. So the first thing that I see in this paragraph, it was so general. So instead of writing about one thing, I mean, you were talking in general as if you were narrating, not describing. But if you are describing there, I would like to go to the last sentence that you said. It was the most perfect reception I have ever attended. And here, everybody will expect that you will describe only the reception. Otherwise, you have to describe decoration, music, food, everything. So
Yeah, but sorry to interrupt you, but reception includes everything that she has mentioned.
but
Okay.
for me, yeah,
Reception can include music as part of the reception. Food is part of the reception. I don't think that there is a contradiction here.
okay, sir.
Okay,
For me,
because reception is when you receive people. I think that there's no problem here. What my remark is if you mention in the introduction that decoration, music, food, and women's kaftans, I mean women's clothes, it means that I'm expecting that you will describe. I hope that you have described decorations, that you have described the music, and that you have described the food and the clothes. I have not read the essay yet, but from the introduction, you are telling us this is what you have to expect. Okay, we will not focus on mistakes, grammatical mistakes. Focus just on the content because of the constraint of time. But I'm very happy that we have an example for the other students to see a way how to write a descriptive essay. Now here describe, so that you remember what we are talking about. Describe within party. So one more remark is that when you use kaftans, which is a word borrowed from Arabic, do not assume that the reader knows. It's as if you are writing for an Englishman. Okay, so whenever you include a word which is not part of the English language, make sure to include a small definition to facilitate understanding traditional clothes, whatever, as Yemna mentioned. Okay? Yes. So because sometimes we tend to, because we have deep in mind, we have in mind that the teacher is also sharing the same culture. But remember that we are in writing an English essay, and your text may be read by anyone who is not necessarily Moroccan, and he should understand every bit of it. Okay, now Khadija, did you describe decorations, music, and food and clothes in your essay?
Yes, I did. Yes.
If you did, it's okay, because it's bad if you mention something and you talk about it.
I did describe.
Okay. Now, next, can you read the next paragraph?
The wedding hall was magnificent. It was a vast building with no beams in the middle, which made it look even bigger. The access door was in haste with an arch of stunning colored flower. In the hall, plants of all kinds hang from the ceiling next to large chandeliers garnished with crystals of all sizes and shapes, making them look grandiose. There were 20 tables arranged in both sides of the space, making a way in the middle, where there led a long, bold red carpet, similar to those in film festivals, leading to the bride's and groom's seats. Our table was covered with a white tablecloth that had an amazing silky touch. The table was decorated with beautiful silverware and ornate golden plates. The centerpiece was a small fish tank filled with glowing golden fishes, surrounded by beautiful flowers. Every corner of the place was decorated in a sophisticated way. That's the end of the first paragraph, the second paragraph. The last sentence, it's not there.
Yes, that's why I'm looking for. Yeah. Can you send it?
Of course.
This is I want to keep a sample for students. So here, every corner, should I put it after wedding hall?
After beautiful flowers, yes.
Flowers,
After
after
beautiful
flowers.
flowers, yes. That's the end of the paragraph.
So as the night starts a new paragraph.
Yeah, it's the second. It's the third
Okay.
one.
Now, we are not focusing on spelling problems. I can see, first I would like to wait for your remarks, students, and then, so first he would like to know what is she describing, and the way she is describing. Something that I said I don't want. This is a mistake in punctuation that is repeated by many students. Which, whenever you have which, it needs a comma before. Okay. Colored, it's not a mistake. Okay, you have written colored with the American English, which is correct. Now here, because I'm adopting British English, that's why we need a U. But of course, colored is correct without U, but that's American English. So maybe to help us, tell me which sense she is using in this paragraph. Is it what she can describe in what she can see, what she can hear, what she can smells, what? Which sense she is using here? Of course, what she can see. So she is using her sense used what she can see. Or let's say sight. Okay, now yes, you go on.
Okay, so next paragraph. As the night went on, the well-dressed
Yes,
guests.
excuse me 1 minute. When Uthman says you have referred to your touch, which is also, though not much, that had an amazing silky touch. So touching also is used. Sense of touch, which is though not elaborated enough, but it is included, which is good. Next.
Okay. As the night went on, the well-dressed guests filled all corners of the wedding hall. Each woman had a different kaftan. I used kaftan again. In color and style.
So maybe if you include from the very beginning traditional clothes, then you don't need to define it after, because it will be clear for the reader. Yes.
Okay. It was time for the big entrance of the bride. She was wearing a white kaftan embroidered with golden threads and red stones, which she embellished by gold jewelries. A big belt decorated with beautiful engravings, a stunning tiara as a headpiece, and big earrings garnished with red stones to match the kaftan. The entry of the bride and groom was accompanied with chants from the women called Negafet, and everyone stood up to welcome them in a nearly spiritual way.
Explanation.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you explain after. You can put it between parentheses. Women in charge of whatever. Yes, you go.
In charge of helping the bride. As the wedding party continued, the bride changed her garments twice. Each kaftan worn by her was special and looked amazing. That's the end of the paragraph.
Yes, good. Again, which sense is used here? Again, sight as a sense used, sight. So Mukhtar is giving us a translator of the wedding coordinator, whatever, if we may call it so. You can look for a definition so that the reader can understand. Again, we suppose that the reader is not Moroccan. Okay? Whatever you write, do not suppose that the reader knows or understand. Okay? Next. You read.
Almost all guests danced that night. The band was very professional and they sang each song at the right moment. When it was time for dinner, they sang the Tarab Andalusi. Here again, I did another word.
Yes, you can translate very easily. You can say Andalusian music.
Music.
We have the word, okay?
Which calmed the ambience and made us ready to eat. The first dish was a royal salad. Just look of it was mouth-watering, as the contrast of colors of all sorts of vegetables, fruits, and seafood made it captivating. An amazing smell.
Now here, an amazing smell. Is it the same paragraph?
Yes.
So no way, you don't need to go back to the line. You have to keep in the same paragraph. Yes.
I stay in the same paragraph. An amazing smell came out of the second dish as it was brought by the waiter. It was a fish pastilla, decorated carefully with shrimps and cheese. Its taste was even better as the combination of the fish, the vermicelli, and spices exploded in my mouth in a savory flavor. I like the third dish less.
Same again. It's the same paragraph. We stick. Yes.
We stay in the same paragraph. I like the third dish less since it was grilled lamb, but it was well prepared and ornamented with cheese and sausage on sticks, and surrounded by different Moroccan salads. I have to use the S. The last meal was dessert. They served all kinds of usual and exotic fruits, artfully assembled in a silver bowl. They also served an ice cream cake with cherry flavor that was very delicious. That's the end of the paragraph.
Yes. Now here she's describing. Pay attention. What do you mean by dish less?
I like the third dish less. I didn't like it like the first two because I don't eat lamb.
Because there is a word dishless. It exists. Dishless.
Okay.
I like the third dish less. You have to say I didn't like the third dish because we don't understand.
Okay.
I dislike the third.
I didn't know that there exists something called dishless.
Yes, because there is a dishless, which is one word.
Okay.
Which means without a dish, and that's what confused me.
Okay.
Yes, or I liked less the third dish. Now here Ahmed Sfar is giving us a good. The word order is confusing. I like less the
third dish.
Would be better. Because you did not dislike, but you liked less. That's the difference that I want to say. Yes.
Then the conclusion.
We have a very comic remark from Yamna saying, remember we are fasting and you are describing food. Hope that we will not impact negatively on those who are fasting and they have problems to fast. They will find it an excuse to say, okay, I was fasting, but I was the student did her best to raise my feeling of hunger, and so That's why I will eat. All right. Now, just from, I don't need to go more. For me as a teacher, just reading something like that, I'm very happy to see that a student at this level is writing this way. You are writing in a very good way, and the description is
Yes,
very
sir.
good. And I think that
Thank
you
you.
deserve an excellent mark, apart from the few remarks. Now, one of the few remarks that I this is something to remind your friends, is that first, do not focus just on the sense of sight. Okay, the sense of sight, and this is predominating. And I mean, without paying attention, this is we all do. When someone asks you to describe something, you describe what you can see. That's why I would like you to keep it in mind, to tell yourself, I have to include, especially that you have talked about the band or the music band. Now here you can include description of the music, or of the what you can hear. To the goal is that the more senses you include in your essay, the more the reader will feel involved, to the extent that you make us live the experience. It's as if we are attending the same wedding ceremony. All right, so this is the main remark. Apart from that, yes, the smell is, since you talked about food, yes, what you can see, good, but you can add what you can smell, the good smell, the taste. Talking about food, you can talk about its taste also, and what you can hear, of course, when you talk about music, whatever sounds that you can hear. I think the wedding ceremony, you have a lot to. Abdurrahman is asking a question. Of course, an essay, Abdurrahman, is a combination of paragraphs, of course. Remember that in the first semester, you were asked to write a paragraph. By the way, when I have corrected writing paragraphs, many students have written essays while they were supposed to write a paragraph. Again, this is a big mistake. The course was writing paragraphs. So either they have never attended the course, or they don't know what is a paragraph. And that's why some students written well, but they have written an essay where they were required to write a paragraph. Now it's the other way around. Are going step by step. In the first semester, you were required to write a paragraph. Yes, but that's normal. I mean, this is the normal. It's like improvement and development. We are going step by step. Normally, even in secondary school, you're supposed to have written essays, but in the modules offered, we say, okay, let's the students first practice and write a good paragraph. And if you can write a good paragraph, you can write then an essay. Now, some students are afraid of the length. Your essay is a bit, for me, it's not that long, but it's not that long, because an essay, you are supposed to write 5 paragraphs. So including introduction and conclusion, and then 3 paragraphs in the development. There is no limits to the length of an essay. Because as I told you before, do not write very long essays, because if you write very long essays, you'll have for sure some mistakes that will impact on your mark. Again, if in the essay someone write a paragraph, then he will be penalized for that. Okay, so some students are lost when they are required to write a paragraph. They write an essay, And when they are required to write an essay, they write a paragraph. So you have to concentrate on the exercise given to you. Remember again that you are supposed to write now in composition course, you are supposed to write an essay. Okay? So the essay of your friend was excellent. There are few mistakes. I don't want to go into them because of the constraint of time. But globally speaking, I would give an excellent mark to this piece of writing. All right, so we go on with what I have written. Asked your friend to give us her piece of writing, so that first you read. The other students read what your friend has written, compare what you have written with what your friend has written, and then you can see, you can have an idea about your level. Because when we give a mark, we take into consideration when we give a mark, we compare students' papers. I don't have a hypothetical student in my mind. All right, so that's how we give marks. We compare students among them, and there'll be some students who have excellent marks, others who have less excellent marks. All right, now we go on. We stopped here, and that maybe meets what I have told your friend and told all of you, that you have to include big number of the senses according to the topic, of course. Okay, here in the topic of the wedding, since she talked about music, she talked about clothes, she talked about food, maybe she could have included taste, of course, sight, hearing. She has referred to the touch once with a very small detail. But this, if you have it in mind, then you can, if you have it in mind, you can remember to include details related to different senses. Yes, so what is the goal? When you provide or use different senses, your description becomes vivid. And we come back to the idea that we say you show your reader. You don't tell. It's not about telling. Description is not about telling. It's about showing. It's like I have a picture in my hand and I'm showing it to you. So whatever I say, it won't be like showing a picture. But here the challenge is trying to make your piece of writing look like if you show us a picture. And so if you can, that means that your description is successful. Now look at the tips now for your descriptive essay. We look at the first tip. Can you please summarize? In your own words. Yes. So what is the main thing that you have to remember here from these few lines? Yes. We have moved the Mukhtar to the next tips of writing a descriptive essay. Now, before I forget, can you suggest a narrative topic? Can you suggest a topic, please, for as a homework? Narrative, this one. So remember, it needs to have like a story and answering a question, what happened. So we have suggestion now from Miriam. Best trip. So in this type of topic, you have a lot to say. Any other suggestion? Childhood memory. Yes. So both topics are good. Best place you have visited. Best place you have visited. We're inclined to see it as a descriptive essay. Night picnic. Yes. Not very common in our culture to have night picnics, especially for girls. That's why, so that we don't exclude girls from the story, we need to find something that would work for everyone. So maybe you can tell us about best or your best trip. Here, that's a homework. So the only way to be a good writer is to write. Okay, you need to write as much as you can. You can choose any topic, and as we did now with Khadija, we have shared her writing with you. Be pleased if you can share with 2-3 friends, serious friends, your piece of writing, exchange, and then you see, I mean, if you have Google Meet, Google Meet is for free. You can, one of you can, first you decide about the group, the team, who are the students who will be included in a group, and then you connect with the Google Meet. You can share with emails, you can share with WhatsApp, you can, I mean, it's not really the platform that we need. What we need is work. Okay, so with Google Meet, you can share as we did today. You can create a Google Meet link, and then you share it with a group of friends. You can share your discussions, share whatever you have written, or by mails, whatever. You find a way, or you can meet. People meet outside also, if you can. Otherwise, you can use any of the available tools like Google Meet, WhatsApp, whatever. Now here, what is important is that the tips now, back to our tips, is that you need to have a plan. Very important to have a plan. You write, then you revise your essay. So that goes without saying, that without planning. And remember that for example, in a descriptive essay from the very beginning, look at the paragraph of your friend. From the very beginning, it was the most perfect reception I have ever attended. So from this perfect reception, we can expect things to be very positive from the very beginning. You can say, for example, you can describe a wedding party that was a failure. You can say it was the worst reception. Again, if you start from the very beginning saying that it was bad, automatically whatever description you include should be negative. Okay, so remember that you are leading the reader from the very beginning. You are creating his expectations so that you say something and looking for what you have already presented and to be confirmed in the development and conclusion. All right, now the tips of we have planning. So here, look at these questions that you have to ask yourself. And these are very important. Yes, of course, it's possible to put questions in the introduction, though it becomes like a cliche, out of date way of presenting things, but it can be done. I mean, there's no harm. It's something of, we would say, of déjà vu ways of saying things, of writing things. But it is possible, of course, to include questions. From the very beginning, in your plan, you need to know or to make sure to remind yourself about what or who you want to describe. Like here, from the very beginning, we know that she is or she is about to describe a wedding party. Now, what is something very important that many students miss is that why this description? Okay, we are not describing for the sake of describing. If you describe, you must have a reason. What could be the reason, for example, for describing a wedding party, in your opinion? These are suggestions. I mean, there may be not one reason that you opt for, but if you know the reason why, then whatever you write must meet this goal. Now here, to whom, that if you answer this way, Yasin, it's as if I have asked you to whom you are describing, which is not my question. My question is why you are writing this description. Because you can describe not just to an international friend, to a Moroccan. Yes. Yes, Fatim Zara is giving us a good definition. It's like what you want your readers to know, believe, understand after you reading your essay. That's, you are leading them to to sharing the experience, but not for the sake of sharing. So here, when she described the wedding party, she would like us to know how things happened. In other situations, we may include belief, understanding. In case you are a foreigner, as your friend has mentioned, which can be a new experience for you. Yes, but just remember one thing is that we don't describe for the sake of describing. Maybe when you describe the Moroccan wedding party, your goal is to show the richness of our culture, as Mariam mentioned, to share our cultural heritage, okay? To make people, be they Moroccans or foreigners, aware of the richness of our culture. Okay, so I'm not describing the wedding party just because I liked. That can be one reason, by the way. Okay. So I've described also to show how beautiful is the way we celebrate marriage ceremonies and the richness of our culture. Okay. Yes. That would be great. Because we suppose that everybody can see, but suppose if you have a blind friend, someone who is blind, and you want to describe. I have seen a video recently about someone who is watching a football match in a stadium, and his friend, he's taken his friend with him, who is blind. And while watching the football match, he is describing at the same time what's happening in the stadium, and you cannot imagine the happiness experienced by that blind person, because he was involved because of the description of the friend. And so when they scored, they hanged each other, they held each other, and it shows the success of the description of the friend. Okay, so I mean, there is no one reason. You can choose whatever reason you want, but just remind yourself that this is my goal for describing. Maybe my goal is just to describe the beauty of the celebration. That's it. That can be a reason. And here, the qualities you want to focus on. So it depends on the description you are describing, okay? Okay, now, so remember what you are describing or who you are describing, what is the reason for describing. It's like if you describe a person, your goal is that the reader will admire this person, for example, at the end, or despise this person at the end. And of course, whatever, if you know the reason from the very beginning, if I'm describing a person because I despise that person, whatever details I'm including should help in reaching that goal, so that at the end, the reader will himself despise that person because of the successful description you have provided. Now, drafting your descriptive essay, try to, though there are many things here that I were already mentioned, but it's no harm in repeating them. You start drafting. So brainstorming, yes. One way of remembering the different sites is to put it's like a table and see what can be included as a detail for each sense. Yes, so senses. Remember to include as many senses as you can. The more details you have, the more the reader will be involved in your description, and as if he has in front of him the thing you are describing. And then, of course, as in all essays, you need to revise. Yes, now look at these sentences. I don't understand, Ahmed, what you want to say. Is there a mistake somewhere? Last line when you are writing a description essay? Yes, which is it? When you are writing a description, this is the last line. When you are writing a description essay, you are painting a picture with words. Before, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. So here, what is essential is that each paragraph I'm adding, it must add something new. The example of the wedding ceremony, one way to avoid repetition and to have something new is to describe one aspect in each paragraph. For example, each paragraph, for example, you have the first paragraph, you can describe the traditional clothes or kaftans of the guests, for example. That's a possibility. You can another paragraph, you describe the food. Another paragraph, you describe the music band, whatever. So each new paragraph, it means new things added and new details. Of course, how would you know unnecessary details? But of course, details that do not add much to the description. Okay? Because we can be driven by ideas sometimes, and we include things that are not really related 100%. So it's up to you to decide whether a detail does not add much, means if you delete it does not make a difference. Okay, so any detail I put, it means that it is a necessary detail in my description. And here it ends with painting a picture. So description is like painting a picture with words. Okay, and that's what makes descriptive essays a little bit challenging. But of course, the more you practice, the easier it is. Now, we will start a new yes, okay. We go on showing the difference between narration and description. And here I would like you to read first lines. We see that ideas repeated each time. Hopefully that you'll remember. So now here we are comparing a narrative and descriptive essay. What do you get from those lines? Even if you feel that you are repeating yourself, there is no harm. It's by repeating that we remember, we memorize things. So when we say the use of sensory details, it means details that has to do with senses. Of course, it can be included in, of course, they are included in descriptive essays, that goes without saying, and also can be included in narrative essays. But remember that the focus in descriptive essays are the sensory details, whereas the focus in a narrative paragraph is the story, or answering the question how or what happened. Yes. So if we put it this way, we can say that the focus in descriptive essays is on the use of senses. Whereas in narrative, though we can use sensory details, yes, we can include some descriptions in a narrative essay, but we should not forget that we are telling a story, whereas in descriptive essays, there is no story. Okay? The focus in narrative essays is on telling a story. Of course, we can, when you tell a story, you can include the descriptions from time to time, but it is not the focus. Okay? Here, again, I repeat myself, there is no story, no events. You try as much as not to include events or story. Now, here we will see two types of description. Okay? We have what we call informative description and evocative description. Read the definitions of both, and then read the paragraph and decide which type of description is it. Is it an informative or an evocative? So some students complain that they cannot see. Maybe I'll reduce the font size. Can you see well my presentation? Because Hajar is saying that she cannot see it clearly. Yes, of course, if you are using a mobile phone, I need to zoom more. If you are using a mobile phone, it'll be a little bit hard for you to, yes. Okay, now you said that it is informative. Yes, informative description. So we can describe, and our goal is let's look now at the next definition paragraph. So second paragraph, again, is it an informative or evocative? And we are describing the same thing. I'm sorry once more, I have lost my connection. Can you hear me? Okay, so sharing once more my... Okay, now, second paragraph. Which type of description is it? Is it an evocative or informative description? Yes, so here, an evocative. So you can see that we can have describe the same thing with different goals. All right, this is what we have here. So both paragraphs above describe a particular thing, samovar, and here, of course, you can imagine that you are describing something which is used in Russia. If you are describing it to Moroccan audience, then we tend to be informative, because the goal is to inform about something which has not belonged to our own culture. Okay, so evocative description is more used in literature. And of course, it requires a lot of imagination, more than an informative description. Now, as you know, you need the topic sentence. Wherever you write, any paragraph requires a topic sentence. What do you mean by a topic sentence? Can you give me a definition? What do you mean by a topic sentence? Yes, the main idea of the paragraph. Yes, but normally topic sentence should be stated explicitly, and that's what you are required to do when you write your essay. But we can have situations in which the topic sentence may be implicit. So it can be either explicit or implicit or explicit. Now look at the example here of an explicit topic sentence. Up to here. We have an example of an explicit topic sentence. So this is as far as the second paragraph is concerned, which was we had an evocative description. What do we have here? The topic, of course, we are describing the grandmother's samovar, okay? And the approach is that we are showing how it could be considered magical. So here it's as if the writer would like to share his feelings, impressions with the reader. But that's a common approach, okay? But we have cases in which the topic is explicitly mentioned. In some cases, we have a topic which is not explicit. Okay? So sometimes the topic sentence is not stated in an explicit way. So the main idea is suggested, but not directly stated. Okay? So when you finish reading the paragraph, you understand what is the main idea. But this is something that I don't advise you to do at this level. I would prefer that you state your topic sentence in an explicit way from the very beginning. Okay, now we look at the example at the paragraph. Here, try to answer the questions. You have two questions. Read this paragraph and answer the two questions. So this document, whatever I write in this document, I'm sharing it with you. Each time I send it to you, so at least you have something written. So again, I repeat, topic sentence can be either stated explicitly or implicitly. In your case in the exam, please write your topic sentence in an explicit way, in a direct way. Okay? Now look at this paragraph and tell me whether the topic sentence is implicit or explicit. So there's some who says implicit, others says it is explicit. If you say that it is explicit, where is a topic sentence? It should be a sentence that you can identify. If you can, then it is explicit. If you can't, it is implicit. So for those who say explicit, show me the sentence, the topic sentence. Mhm. Is a visit to a barber shop. Is describing the shop, the barber shop, and the topic sentence, because you have many answers, it means that we are lost. That means that the topic sentence is not explicit, it is implicit. So what he wants to achieve at the end is to describe a dirty barbershop. This is what he wants to say, but it is not stated explicitly. Okay, so this is the main idea, which is not stated explicitly, describing a very dirty barbershop that you can find in, especially in the countryside, sometimes in Morocco. This you can find in those popular markets that are held once a week. Of course, it's not a built shop. Mustn't it can be a tent. Things are changing nowadays in Morocco, but we used to have this type of barber shop. Okay, so here it's not that. Maybe he started with the most, his description with the most thing that attracts the attention, which is the chair. This is how he starts. It's like he starts with the most noticeable thing. Of course, there are other things that he describes after, but the first thing that attracts his attention is the barber chair, mainly because it is in the middle, or maybe because it is he will use it himself to sit to have a haircut. Whatever. This is a technique of how to organize your description, and this is what you will see. There are many ways to organize a description. One way is the chronological or time order, which means, can you read and tell me what does it talk about? How we can organize our details in a descriptive paragraph. In which case you can use time order or chronological order. No, you did not understand my question. We're not talking about the paragraph we have just seen. We're talking about ways to organize a paragraph of description. We have many ways. What do you mean by a chronological order? Khadija, can you explain what you want to say about describing a thunderstorm? What do you mean? Yes? Okay. You're right. So something happened. You have a kind of timeline, as Rahman says. Something happened after the other, or seen after the other, or described after the other. So it's like we have thunder. Automatically, we have lightning, sorry. Yes, we have the thunder first, and then we have the lightning, and then we have the storm. Taking the example of Khadija. Use of third person if you want. Okay. So you choose the person you would like to use according to your description. So just what I want to tell you here is that you can order your paragraph or your following time order, or you can use spatial order. Now look at the spatial order, very simple, especially when you describe a place. Or even when you describe a person or an object, the way you approach the object. Uh-huh. So we can use chronological order as we can use spatial order. What do you mean by spatial order? Uh-huh. Yes. It's about space, yes. And even if you talk about, can you imagine you're describing a person from the top till it's describing his feet or the other way around, describing a place to the right, to the left, front, back, behind, beside, inside. Those are all expressions, especially when you describe a place. These are two ways of organizing your description of your paragraphs in descriptive essays. We have other ways that we will see next time. Do you have any questions so far about something that I have mentioned? you know, when you describe a person using spatial order, it's like you have a camera and you zoom on his hair, as Khadija mentions, and you go down to the face, and then you go down, up when you reach the feet. That's a possibility to describe someone. But we have other ways that we will see next time. Today it will be more than enough. I see that you feel tired. Yes. Yes, Fatim Zara is asking about the difference between implicit and explicit topic sentences. Who can explain? Yes, who can explain? Yes, yes. Seen when it is explicit, it means that the topic sentence is stated. Implicit, when you understand it, when you have to read the whole paragraph so that you can understand the topic of the paragraph. Whereas when the topic sentence is explicit, it's from the very first sentence, you know what is the paragraph about in simple way. Okay, which is the most common. And I told you this is just, I would like you to be aware of that. Maybe you can read a text somewhere and you can ask yourself, where is the topic sentence? Because generally speaking, the topic sentence is stated at the beginning of the paragraph. And this is what I advise you to do, because it helps the reader follow your thought. Okay? Can be explicit, stated clearly from the very beginning. Implicit, it is not stated clearly. You need to read the whole paragraph, as we did about the barber shop, to understand that the writer is talking about or describing a dirty barber shop. It's only when we have finished that we come up to this idea. It's not from the very beginning. Whereas he could have said, I have had a haircut from the very beginning in a very dirty barber shop. This is a very explicit topic sentence. And then start describing it and giving us details that show why the writer thinks that it is a dirty barber shop. Yes. Is there any question? The homework, you have it, Mukhtar. You have to write a piece of writing. You write about your best trip narrative. Did you have bad connection yourself, or is it my problem, my alone? So you have also problems in your connection? All right. I would like you, please, at least each week to write two essays, sorry. One narrative and one descriptive. This is the strict minimum to prepare for the exam. There's no other way. And share with friends. See their remarks. I'm sure that in their remarks you find many which are very constructive and very interesting. Yes. Any question? No questions? No questions. Okay, thank you for, yes. I told you that you can share it with me, but I will not have time to read, unfortunately. It's very, very busy. As I told you, just if you know that I have 35 students in the end module paper, can imagine the amount of mails I am receiving. No, if you want to share it now with them all, as long as I'm connecting, yes. Or I don't think that it'll be more interesting if you work just in small groups, just 3 or 4 students, friends, and then have a Google Meet link, and then share things with your friends, or exchange emails, and everyone send his mail to his friend. And so make sure that you have serious students, so that you send him you send him your essay, and he sends you his feedback. For the homework, you will do as we did today, bring it next week, inshallah. Okay, and we'll ask you to share, and maybe we can talk about one of the, maybe I can listen, because why I did not want to listen, because it is a writing exercise. When you write, you can see different type of mistakes, but when you speak, we may miss many things to be talked about. Okay, what matters for me is that you write your homework, do it. Look how to share. If you go to your email, okay, so I connect to my mail. It was closed because of lost connection. Now here is my Gmail. So just to have an idea about the number of mails that I have waiting for me to be answered, I have 82 mails that I have to read and to give my feedback. Just to tell you that I'm not exaggerating. So here you can imagine all these are my students in end module paper that are waiting. Some have sent their mails long time ago, 8th of April, and now we are 23rd. You can imagine how late I am to respond, but I will anyway. Now here, if you go here, you have Google Meet. If you click on it, then you can have a link that you copy and send and share with some friends, and then maybe you keep the same link whenever you want to meet. And then you can share whatever documents you want. Okay, so I think that's enough for today. Wish you the best of health. The year is about to finish. For this is very exceptional year, very short semesters, so you have to work harder because there is no much time left. A strict minimum is to write 2 essays per week. This is the strict minimum. Okay, and share with friends and compare what you have written and listen to the remarks of your friends. If you